Well, here we are again, celebrating the anniversary of a James Cameron movie which just got a physical media release this year. True Lies turns 30 years old in 2024, and man, honestly, looking at the movies I reviewed from 1994 so far this year, and the reviews that I still have to come when talking about that year, that honestly might have been one of the greatest years of new releases in the history of cinema. And True Lies was, of course, the reunion of director James Cameron and star Arnold Schwarzenegger, also future governor of my state, California. He would hold that office from, I believe, 2003 up to 2011. But yeah, before he ever got into politics, Arnold was like the action star back then. And this was his and James Cameron's big follow-up to the first two Terminator movies, both of which I think could be in the conversation for greatest action movie ever. Arnold plays a man named Harry Tasker. He's thought by his family to be a dull salesman, but he's secretly a spy who's working on tracking down nuclear missiles which are in the possession of an Islamic jihadist. But Harry's mission is thrown into disarray when he realizes his neglected wife, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is contemplating an affair with a geek named Simon, played by Bill Paxton. And conversely, Simon is a used car salesman who claims that he's a spy. So it's pretty much Harry Tasker in reverse. And when the Islamic jihadist kidnaps Harry and his wife, the secret agent must save the world and patch up his marriage all at the same time. Now, it really does feel like when I describe True Lies, there's a lot going on. And well, I mean, because there is a lot going on. True Lies is very complicated. And I think director James Cameron absolutely understands that. This movie is definitely classified as an action comedy. And I feel like for people to say that True Lies is one of James Cameron's inferior movies because it came out right after T2, I don't really think it's fair. I really don't think that's a fair criticism because True Lies is very much a different movie. It's like comparing apples and oranges. James Cameron is a very versatile filmmaker, as we've discussed on this channel. The Abyss, Titanic, the Avatar movies. And I think for the most part, aside from a few nitpicky spots where I don't think shaky cam needed to be used, this is a beautifully directed film. The shots in this movie, like, only James Cameron could have captured these. This movie absolutely looks and feels big budget. The special effects definitely don't feel like they're 30 years old. There's some spots where there's definitely some noticeable green screen here and there, but other than that, it doesn't really feel dated all that much. And I've been giving a lot of love to stunt performers over this past year, especially with big blockbusters like The Fall Guy and Furiosa. But the stunt performers, even back during True Lies, they have to be heavily commended here. The risks that these performers are taking, I can't even fathom. Absolutely insane. True Lies is a fiery blaze of glory. And I feel like this is one of those movies, along with Predator and with the Terminator movies, this is what people might recognize Arnold for the most. And I feel like, in all honesty, this is the most underrated performance that Arnold Schwarzenegger has ever given in his career. And you want to know why that is? He's incredibly subdued. And it feels like a real guy. You definitely feel like, yes, it is Arnold, and he is very recognizable in this. But you could definitely buy him as some sort of sales representative. You could buy him living a normal life, going to these sales conventions or business trips or what have you. I know it might sound ridiculous me praising it like this, but I found this performance super believable. You know what else I found believable? His chemistry with his wife. Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, is supremely underrated in this. A very, very, very strong female character by the end. It's a very interesting arc that I think Curtis absolutely masters. Her scenes with Arnold have a wide range. I honestly wish, though, because of who it is, I wish that there was a little bit more to showcase their dramatic chops. I wish there were more scenes like the interrogation sequence, where Arnold in a muffled voice is basically confirming whether or not that his wife is having an affair, and whether or not his wife still loves him. That is a very gripping emotional scene, and I think both actors do really well with that. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have the infamous striptease sequence. The infamous striptease sequence that James Corden absolutely... Yeah, I don't like to think about that. I don't like to think about that parody. But their chemistry is 100% believable. And by the end of the movie, their partnership is so freaking fun. The dialogue and the banter that they share, yes, can be very cheesy and feel very 90s and very much like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Like, I can't really say that the cheesiness of the script is a nitpick for me because half of Arnold's movies are super cheesy. But that's honestly what makes True Lies more fun. Like, this was the movie that was competing with Forrest Gump in July of 1994. This was the big action blockbuster that James Cameron was hoping for. And even though it wasn't as successful as the Terminator movies or as well known as the Terminator movies, I think this is still extremely solid. My issues with this movie mainly come in the form of wishing that there was a little bit more dramatic gravitas. I wish that there were more scenes like the interrogation sequence. Like, I adore that bit to pieces. If you don't watch any other part of True Lies, watch that scene. Everybody's just firing on all cylinders. Tom Arnold, really good in this movie as well. I think where this movie really falters for me, though, the runtime. This is 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And I don't think True Lies, for what it is, I don't think it needed to be that long. And I'll tell you where I think they should have cut it off. You have this big gigantic climax on the bridge, and it's super exciting, and it ends with this really cheesy look at Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis reuniting. But then all of a sudden, nope, there's like 20 more minutes. He's got to go save his daughter now. And the false finish there, honestly, I don't know. I don't want to say it was trying my patience or what have you, because like I said, it is still very fun. But there's a part of me that feels like True Lies also sort of overstays its welcome. And I understand that this situation is extremely wacky and it can feel very cartoonish. But there's also a part of me that looks at scenes like that interrogation sequence and it makes me wonder what could have been if this material had a more thriller aspects to it. But as it sits, True Lies is still very fun. I think James Cameron is a wonderful director. He's a perfectionist, as I'm sure y'all are aware. Every shot certainly feels warranted. The 4K transfer is beautiful, might I add. And this is another one of those movies from 1994 that, you know, again, they were putting out hit after hit after hit that year. I wasn't alive to witness the 1994 new releases coming in, but man, you guys were lucky. And I'm lucky that I get to experience them with you guys in this day and age. I'm going to give True Lies an A-. One of those movies that made Arnold famous, Jamie Lee Curtis's most underrated performance, great direction and great action. What more can you really ask for? Let me know what you think of this movie down in the comments. Let me know if this is your favorite James Cameron picture, because I love what I do here. I love discussing all new things in the cinematic world with you guys on the regular. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing. Tap on that thumbs up as well. That would be a huge help. And stay tuned for more videos hitting this channel very, very soon. Y'all are the best, guys. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.